everyone, welcome to this episode of Daily Soul Bytes show. My name is Bola Abimbola, I am your host, and this is the show where we interview expert authors and coaches and entrepreneurs who share their strategies and tips to really elevate collective consciousness. And today, my guest is Sandra Morno. And I'll say a bit about Sandra before we start. Sandra is a tax strategist with 14 years of experience in taxes. Her love of numbers and taxation has allowed her to empower and support women with U.S. service-based businesses to help them take the anxiety out of taxation. And welcome, Sandra.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So where are you at the moment, Sandra?
I'm in Buenos Aires, Argentina right now.
But you're based in the US, but you're traveling around on this
Correct.
tour at the moment. Oh, that's
Yeah.
wonderful. It's really nice to connect with you. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us the steps to help women save, or men, help people save money on taxes. And because money is something that I think really gives us a lot of anxiety. And
Yeah.
whether we have enough, how we're spending it, and we have all these beliefs that sometimes do not allow us to take advantage of the opportunities that are around us. And I think sometimes the strategies that we can have can help us to one, reduce the anxiety, and two,
Mhm.
enjoy that abundance. Money is a form of abundance, and enjoy
Yeah.
that abundance a lot more. So I look forward to really hearing you share with us the steps that will help us reduce anxiety and
Mhm.
take advantage of the opportunities in the US specifically. This is around the US,
Right.
around the taxation laws in the US.
Yeah. So, well, first, I want to just kind of say that there's a difference between tax filing, tax preparation, and tax planning, right? I think what happens, our tax season is mainly from January to April, and that's when everybody rush to get their paperwork together to find someone to file their taxes. And at that point, there's only so much you can do to save on taxes, right? So the first kind of strategy or first thing that people have to realize is about planning. It's a year-round thing. In the US, we have so many different types of taxes. And that's how the wealthy stay wealthy. They plan throughout the year, right? Of course, they have the money, but average Joes like me and you can take advantage of the tax code by having someone working with them all year long. So the first strategy is, of course, finding that right person, finding that right fit, interviewing them, seeing what they offer, seeing what the costs are, and weighing the benefits of it. That's one of the most important things when it comes to taxes is finding that right person. And for me, I work with a lot of business owners. So another thing that I tell them is that they need to have their financials up to date. Their bookkeeping, their income statements, their profit and loss, they need to know where they stand as of this date because that's what helps them better plan, especially as they go into the new year. Like right now at this date, like it's December the 20th. Um, Financial professionals are rushing people like, all right, this is fourth quarter. Let's get your numbers together. Let's help you save on taxes, so you can see those benefits, so you can create legacy, so you can save money, so you can do better things as you grow your business. So having your financials up to date is so crucially important. And then there's so many different tax strategies that they can employ. Like it's not too late to hire your kids. And a lot of people are just like, no, for real, can I do that? And I'm like, yes. If they're at least 7 years old and they're holding up the phone for you, taking pictures for you, taking out the trash, you can actually pay them up to a certain amount and you can still claim them. So you're writing off of that income. You can start an IRA for them. You're writing off that income. And in 2023, you can write up to $13,850. Plus, you can start an IRA for another $5,500. That's almost $20,000 deduction. You already pay that kid an allowance or something. Why not write it off legitimately through your business?
Mm. So let me break this down. So the first thing is to find somebody, to have somebody that can help you to take advantage of the time of the year, because the times of the year when you have to file these taxes. So to find
Hmm.
somebody, if you cannot do it yourself, to
Yeah.
make sure you have somebody who can do it for you. That's important. I
Yes.
definitely agree with that. And then there is also, the strategies you mentioned. Could you break this down again? So one is to make sure that we are ensuring that those financials, those bills, those invoices are all in place. That's what you mean, isn't it? The bookkeeping.
Pretty
It-
much, yes. You know
yes.
how much
So,
you've made, you
yes,
know all your
yes.
expenses, because it's the bottom line, right? So if your net income is like $50,000, woof, you're going to have a nice, not so nice tax bill. So that's why you need to plan and have that right professional there to help you bring down that tax bill. Okay, let's go through the tax code and see what else we can like maneuver for you legally, of course. What
Mm,
strategies are available to you, like hiring your kids, right? Like starting a health insurance plan under your company. There's so
mm,
many things available to people that they don't know of.
yes. See, why I want us to really break this down is because there's a lot of anxiety around money, but it is not something that should be that way.
Right.
Because throughout the year, we can actually begin to have habits, have
Mhm.
habits that can help us to manage our money better. So
Right.
we can have say, an envelope where we file in all our invoices
Mm-hmm.
and receipts. Break this down for us. What are the kinds of habits that people can have throughout the year that will make
Mm-hmm.
it easier when that time comes to file those filing their claims
Taxes.
or taxes or whatever they need to do, because I think that's really key. The
Right. It
habits
is.
the habits that we can have throughout the year that will really help us to make that particular period less stressful.
Yes. So it's like you said. So I always suggest that someone has either an Excel sheet or something called Wave Apps. It's just like QuickBooks, and Wave
Mhm.
Apps is absolutely free. That's the thing I always plug to people, and it's super simple, right? Because it's bad enough people don't like to deal with money, so I try to give them simple steps so that they don't get overwhelmed.
Mhm.
So they would use Wave Apps connected to their business bank accounts. Hopefully, that's what they have, and I always tell my clients to run everything on one card, either one checking account, one savings account, or one credit card. Because now we have a track record of all your expenses. And we have a track record of all your income because it's all in one place on this, money management system is what you can call it, right? And then I tell people at the end of the month, just review something. It takes maybe 10, 15 minutes, right? For you to make sure all your expenses went through. You don't have any crazy charges on there. Maybe there's some subscriptions that you don't even use anymore
Yeah.
that you need to cancel, right? Because I know I used to be horrible with that. I would sign up for 10 subscriptions, and at the end of the year, I'm like, what did I spend like $1,000 on? And I could have canceled this if I was paying more attention to my financials. So it's just like having a cup of coffee and going through your bank statements online, right? All right, this is correct. This is how much money I made, or maybe even catching that you didn't get paid for an invoice. Now that's important. I've seen people forget about things like that.
Mm.
So taking some time, either once a month or once a quarter, to go through your financials, make sure things make sense. And if you're feeling overwhelmed with doing that, find the help. There are bookkeepers out there, there are
Yes.
accountants out there that can do what'll take you 3 hours, they can do it in an hour.
Yeah.
So, what do you want to do? You want to save time because you can't get that time back, or you want to
Yes.
kind of struggle through this trying to understand some numbers that you don't understand? I'm the type of person I stay in my lane. There's certain things I know I can't do that
Yeah.
I outsource, and
Yeah.
I think more of us need to be okay with that outsourcing things.
Yeah.
And our financials are super, super important.
And I think self-awareness and honesty is so important. Just being aware of what we're good at and what we're
Yeah,
not, what we want to grow in, what we want to learn, and what we no longer want to have as something
right.
that is holding us back.
Yeah.
Because we all go through that time when we have to become accountable and we have to become more responsible. And
Hmm.
money is something that is a currency of exchange, wherever we go. So becoming more aware of how we think about money, how we manage money, and whether we're good at it or not, is
Right.
really key. And being honest about it, and
Yeah.
it's okay. Finding people like you who really have an understanding of it. And I love what you said about, once a month or once a week, going through what it is I'm spending. Do I still need this? Do I no longer need this? Because
Yeah.
what subscriptions we needed 10 years ago or last year may no longer be relevant. And
Right.
and coming to a place where we are being honest and being accountable is really key. It really helps
Yeah.
us to feel free. This is where taking responsibility for how we feel, how we live our
Yeah.
lives, being intentional. What
Yeah.
do I want to spend money on? What do I no longer want to spend money on? What are my
Yes.
kids asking
Yeah.
me to do? And setting
Yeah.
boundaries. I think
Yeah.
throughout the year, setting boundaries for what we want to be involved in, what we want to engage in, because these
Hmm.
habits are what we need to be having throughout the year in order for
Right.
us to be able to make the best of this currency
Yeah.
that we all need in our lives. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
You're
So
welcome.
tell us a bit about yourself, Sandra. What do you um, what do you think has led you to this place where you are focusing more on how this particular currency is how you're engaging with it and how you are helping others to do that? What has led you to this place?
So when I started back in 2013 on my own, because I started in 2009 working with someone and then just kind of evolved into my own business, I was actually dealing with people who owe the IRS tons of money. I'm talking about 50, 100, 200,000. And to me, it occurred to me like, how did you get here? Who's filing your taxes and how did you get to this point? Because that's not something that just happens overnight, right? And most of the people were just like, oh, yeah, this is 3 years in or 4 years in. And I'm like, whoever helped you did not do you a good service, right? Because they should have helped you at least to tell you, hey, maybe next year you need to implement some changes. You need more deductions, you need more strategies. And so it's kind of like I worked backwards because I was helping people resolve this IRS debt. And I'm like, please don't fall into this again because they'll like take everything that we just worked hard for and mount it on top of your new debt, right? And I just realized that business owners needed more help throughout the year. So it's kind of like I went backwards. Now I'm offering tax planning and taxes because we want to be proactive. I wanted them to be a preventative. Instead of owing $50,000, let's plan, right? And so that we can bring that 50 down to like 20, or at least you're going to owe that 20. I think that's what hurts me when I see clients, they come to me, we file the taxes, and I'm like, ooh, you owe like 30. And they're like, wait, what? They have no idea. And, they're stressed beyond a certain level because IRS, brings on that fear. So it's just like, well, what do I do now? All right, we're going to do a payment plan, but we also need a plan ahead so you don't fall into this trap again. And for me, I just kept seeing more people not understanding their financials and me being in taxes. And when I first started, I got a happy gram, is what I call it, from the IRS that I wasn't expecting. And so after that point, I was just like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I need to understand what I need to do all year long. I need to take advantage of this. And I need to show others how easy it is, to do this so they're not so fearful of the IRS, to take that anxiety out of taxes
Yeah.
because taxes is something people don't like to talk about, and I can't blame them.
Yeah. And have you always loved money from a child? Have you always?
No, no, that's how I was raised, was just save as much as you can, be frugal, wait until it's time for you to retire to enjoy it. That's that's how I
Mm,
was raised. Never really taught about money. My parents came from Haiti and just, to the States and did the best that they could. And just taught us like a hard work ethic. That's all they taught us.
mm. And as you grew up in your teens, how were you with money? How did you come to a place where you really be, have become very mindful of your habits, and
Mhm.
you're very accountable around money, and you no longer have that anxiety? What experiences did you have that led you to
Ooh,
to really begin to, because it comes to a place where I got to that place where I knew, hello, I've got to become, it's all down to me. How
right,
money flows in and out of my life,
right.
the ease with it, how I manage it, how I look after myself, my family, my children. This is all
Hmm.
down to me. What experiences led you to that place? Because
Ooh,
that's really key.
yeah, I hit rock bottom a couple of times. I think, so we go to college and not really taught about money, and everyone's throwing credit cards at you, and
Yes. Oh yeah.
you
Oh yes.
have
We
these
get that all over the
loans.
world.
Right. Yeah. You have these, student loans, and it's just, well, how do I manage this? I have to pay all this stuff back, and I got to a point where I had to file bankruptcy because I was just like, I'm over my head. I don't even know how I got here. I was in my mid 20s, I think, and I was just like, okay, I understand kind of how this works and
Mm,
how I need to better manage my money because I can't live on plastic, right? You got to pay that back eventually at
yeah.
a crazy high interest rate. And so I think when I kind of fell into this industry in 2009, I started to understand a little bit more, right? Just looking at how income comes in, looking at what we have to pay in taxes, looking at the benefits. Well, our tax code has changed so many times, but there's so many more things we could write off back in the day, right? So people were excited about like keeping track of their expenses and having a budget. And so for me, like the first step was putting myself on a budget. It's just like, this is it. Like, this is what we're sticking to. And then having my actual expenses. So I would see where I'd go crazy, right? So it's just like food was my downfall. Like I'd spend like $500 just just me on food. I'm like, oh, I can't. That has to stop. That's just ridiculous. What am I eating? You know what I mean? So it's taking baby steps like that. Like my phone bill, like why is it so high? I can bring some things down. So it's just being aware of what I really truly needed, and not worrying about so much on what I quote unquote wanted or keeping up with everyone else. Like I learned a long time ago, I don't care to do that. I just want to be happy in my own little corner and live my life, you know, to the fullest with the money that does flow to me.
Mm,
So it took a while to
mm.
learn that lesson.
Oh, that is beautiful. And how do you live now? So you're not in the US.
Right.
You are, tell us about your travels, how
Okay.
you're traveling at the moment.
So right now I'm in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I'm here. It's summertime. Well, not yet. It's a little chilly outside today.
Mm,
And I'm here till May. So what I've been doing is kind of traveling to different Latin American countries, staying for 3 to 6 months, just really
mm,
seeing how people live outside of the United States. And I mean, it's just been an amazing experience for me. I walk a lot more. I eat a lot healthier.
mm.
I'm forced to speak Spanish, which I'm okay with that. But there's like just like a totally different vibe when I'm not in the United States, right? I'm not in a car all day long, or I'm not home all day long. I'm out and about and experiencing life. And there's so many other people that are here from the United States doing the same thing. So like we have a community, and it's
Oh,
not such a lonely experience.
mm. Oh, that is wonderful. I love the life that you've created. That is beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
So tell us how we can find you. How can people find you who do want to kind of take more responsibility and live that easier life, less with more emotional freedom? Because that's really what I preach about, emotional freedom, as well as that self-awareness, honest self-awareness. How can
Mhm.
people find you who are in that place, who do want to now manage that money, that abundance in a much, much easier way?
Yeah, so the easiest way to find me is on LinkedIn. I'm the only Sandra Morno on there. So that is how I connect with people because we kind of connect on they can kind of see who I am on LinkedIn. I can see
Mhm.
who they are and, the true you, and we can connect that way. That's the easiest way I tell people.
Oh, that is wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me today, Sandra.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoy talking with you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, our audience, for joining us today. And I do want to talk about my book. This is the Daily Soul Bytes book, which is now anywhere books can be found or can be sold online. And I look forward to connecting with everyone again on our next episode of the Daily Soul Bytes show. Bye bye.